College in 2017 is different. It's different than how college is in Europe or Asia or Latin America. It's different than how college was 40 years ago, even just for our parents. It's different because for the first time ever, paying for a college degree is unrealistic for most people in this country. Even if you are in the upper middle class, get perfect grades in high school, and receive financial aid, you still might not be able to afford a degree. So if you're like me, and you attend a university that already costs more than $60,000 a year, and you hear through the grapevine that there is a 4% increase in tuition, you're going to start asking questions. So, where is our money going? And how is this communicated to students? Well, here's what we figured out. College in 2017 is different because our system is broken.
Hundreds of thousands of students started classes at colleges and universities, and one thing is increasingly clear. By the time they graduate, most students are going to be leaving with a lot more than just a tacky polyester robe and a copy of Oh, the Places You'll Go that their tearful aunt got them. They'll be leaving with this.
7 of 10 graduating students left college last year in debt. The total bill due for students in America tops $1 trillion.
That's right. Student debt in the US is now bigger than debt from credit cards and auto loans, and is second only to mortgages. Essentially, student debt is like HPV. If you go to college, you're almost certainly going to get it. And if you do, it will follow you for the rest of your life.
The graduating class of 1984 was the last group of college students to have a higher percentage of grants than loans. Since then, this trend has been exponential, and put simply, the government has put less and less money into higher education. This was part of Ronald Reagan's famed fiscal reforms.
When I sign this bill into law, America will have the lowest marginal tax rates and the most modern tax code among major industrialized nations, one that encourages risk-taking, innovation, and that old American spirit of enterprise. We'll be refueling the American growth economy with the kind of incentives that helped create record new businesses and nearly 11.7 million jobs in just 46 months. Fair and simpler for most Americans, this is a tax code designed to take us into a future of technological invention and economic achievement.
Schools across the country have since had to compensate by radically increasing tuition. Modern students are now expected to pay more than ever before, and this means taking out an unrealistic amount of loans. Take it from an expert Cal Berkeley economist, Robert Reich.
Do you know someone loaded down with student debt? Or maybe you have a big student loan. Student debt now totals $1.3 trillion, and it's growing as college costs rise faster than inflation, faster than the incomes of most students and their families. Largely because states have been cutting funding to public colleges and universities where most students get their higher education.
Broad issues like these have trickled down into daily student life. Students such as Maya Dendrell and Luke Bradbury never expected their finances to affect them the way they do.
I had no idea it would be this stressful. It's something that I call my dad about at least once a week. It's like, how are you going to pay for this? Chapman, how's the job search going? At least once a week, it's like, we can't afford for you to be here. We can't afford to fly you home because it's too much money. We don't know how to get your stuff here and there. And it's really expensive being from out of state. And that was something my family did take into consideration. But I would say there's definitely been a lot of breakdowns at school just because you don't know how to pay for it at the end of the day. And when you're school, you feel like they don't care about you enough to listen to you when you're like, hey, I need a job. I'm willing to do literally anything you ask me, and your school just doesn't deliver. It sucks.
My name is Luke Bradbury. I'm a sophomore here at Chapman University. And I'm here on a mostly academic scholarship with some grants and other stuff. I work 2 jobs to pay for school. I lifeguard and I tutor. All that money goes towards tuition. Chapman's been pretty good with financial aid. There's been a few hiccups here and there, but that's mostly due to family stuff. Be more vocal about the tuition and the scholarship opportunities and ways in which tuition could get lowered, or scholarships would be available to make your tuition or financial burden a little bit less.
On the school side, members of the administration feel that they are doing everything they can. Chapman University in particular works tirelessly to attract worthy students and to make their college affordable. Yet looking at Chapman's $60,000 price tag, it's hard to imagine that all of that money is allocated properly. Harold Hewitt and Mike Pelly claim that 80% of Chapman's revenue goes back to students through grants and scholarships. Yet Joe Slawinski and Ken Murphy claim that about 65% of the revenue goes into salaries. Either way, we are paying our employees a lot of money. But who gets the most money? The administration does, not the professors. Harold Hewitt here, for example, makes roughly $516,000 a year from Chapman alone. Yet looking at the people who actually interact with students, there seems to be a bit of disparity. Chapman has more adjunct, part-time professors than full-time faculty. Chapman may boast about its 14-to-1 faculty-to-student ratio, but this statistic is misleading. A high number of cheap, part-time teachers does not equal a better education. Full-time professors do. The happier teachers are with their treatment by the school, the better their teaching is. Yet the school is not actively using these funds to create full-time professors who can actually change a student's life. They do this to save money. But then where is this extra money being redistributed?
Final year of the most recent 5-year plan. The title was Moving into the Health Sciences. That was the title of the plan when the board approved it in the fall of 2013. The pharmacy program is the biggest example, I think, because it was financially the most risky, the most costly, and so far has met all of its targets. So, what has that all got to do with tuition? Okay. Well, we very carefully calculate the cost of building out these programs. And we look at all of the sources of revenue, all the expenses associated with the organization, and then we target knowing that 75% of revenue to build out these programs is coming from net tuition, both graduate and undergraduate.
We keep hearing about this 5-year plan. The school wants a competitive edge to attract more students, so current students' money is put toward future programs. For the next 5-year plan, Chapman believes that the science department should rank higher nationally so that more students will come here. Therefore, we are sending money toward that department. So our money is going toward our reputation, just so that we can beat out the reputation of other schools. When we ask where our money is going, we are met with the answer that about 80% of Chapman's tuition money goes back into helping students pay for school. Administration believes that this makes them the good guys. This may seem simple, but why don't we just lower tuition by about that 80%?
Yes, I think college is too expensive. I think some of it has to do with the things that you sort of referred to before. Part of this arms race, so to speak, has to do with the bells and whistles of college, and so and Chapman provides beautiful swimming pool in the dorms and things like that, and so those things. While they only get built once, they also require maintenance and other things. So there is a significant cost associated with that.
Chapman, along with every other school in this country, is giving into the sentiment that we need to keep tuition high to keep our standards high. By the time my kids go to college, it will be $600,000 a year to get a degree. So what matters more, reputation or education?